Dear colleagues, thank you very much to the possibility of participation in this interesting and helpful for a lot of people conference. Especially thank you for Anatoly Korkin that made this conference and put a lot of efforts to organize a lot of scientists from all over the world. It's a pity that we can't meet face by face, but it's great that we can share of our experience. And of course, we are from different kinds of science, but I think we can help each other to understand better what should we do of the next time and the next year. So I would like you to make the report about antibiotic resistance in human and veterinary medicine and tell you about problems and solutions. Of course, it is my view, and we do a lot in Russia to solve this problem. So I am an epizootiologist, a candidate of veterinary science, a developer and head of programs to reduce the amount of administration of the antimicrobials and organize the technology of antimicrobial control system under scale and agricultural production. Last 5-7 years we made a lot, and my hobby, my work, my scientific work, my work for the people are connect with this problem and with its solution. We made a lot of tools, we made a lot of equipment. For example, now we develop automatical soft package for support and design making of appointment of effective antibiotic therapy in animals. Its name is Microscience. So we make a lot of postgraduate course, a lot of lectures, a lot of practical workshops in different kinds of educational institutes, in laboratories, and we invite a lot of foreign lecturers. The results of our work we put into the books. The first one was in 2015. It was the collective monography with Institute of Pasteur in St. Petersburg, this Institute of Genetics, and it was only 160 pages. So some years, so times go by so fast, and now we have 5 books. 2 of them, the mastitis and the cattle disease of young borns, were the second editions, and 2 books, the organization of infectious disease control, of administration of antimicrobials, and producing of safety products of poultry, and the second one in pig farms. The reviewer of these books is Donya Karina Mikhailovna, Vice President of Russian Science of Academy, and this work is the results and the practice guide how to do is in scale agricultural production. All this equipment, all these tools will help to solve the solution of antimicrobial resistance. No time to wait. This red line of report to the Secretary General of the United Nations from Interagency Coordination Group on Antimicrobial Resistance. This report was made in 2019 in April, and the red line is no time to wait. Unless the world acts urgently, antimicrobial resistance will have disastrous impact within a generation. And it is our generation. Antibiotic resistance is a global problem of the 21st century. Even microdoses of antibiotics that enter the human body lead to the development of antibiotic resistance of the human's own microorganisms. The body begins to protect its microflora, forming its resistance to antibiotics from outside and transferring resistance genes to microorganisms which coming from outside. For example, the Escherichia coli, the common microorganism from the body, from the environment, will share with antibiotic-resistant genes to Salmonella and Klebsiella. So it means that if Escherichia coli has its own gene resistance, it will give like a gift, and when we make the antibiotic therapy, they will be resistant. So, the presence of stable microflora in the body leads to the ineffectiveness of the treatment of any infections and consequently to the enormous costs both in the family scale and in the country scale. Diseases from antibiotic-resistant microorganisms characterize a more severe and prolonged course. The cost of treatment is enormous, and risk groups are children and old people. Current resistant bacteria to the newest preparations are constantly being detected. One more risk is when residues come to the organism with the feed with the milk, eggs, meat, and so on. So, for example, tetracyclines cause irreversible change in fetal bone tissue and long-term discoloration of tooth enamel in children under 8 years of age. For example, fluoroquinolones can cause arthropathy in children under 18 and increased seizure activity in the elderly people. So the problem is huge because we can get the antibiotic resistance microorganism from our pets. For example, in 2015 in Finland, in a family was found new delphi metallo-beta-lactamase and expanded spectrum beta-lactamases that were resistant for all antibiotics from people and from pets. And these bacteria lived in organisms of whole family and organisms in whole pets. You know that, for example, staphylococcus is the spread microorganism in hospitals, and it causes a lot of complications after operations. The staphylococcus is the main microorganism in maternity hospital, and staphylococcus lives in environment of our skin, of our intestinal, and there are a lot of common organisms. For example, Escherichia coli. For example, in Candida albicans, because antibiotic resistance concern and fungi too. So, you know that the problems concern a lot of sides of our life. For example, in 2015, it was found the Escherichia coli. It was antibiotic resistance for all antibiotics, and it lives in organisms of dogs and of members of the family. It was new delphi metallo-beta-lactamase resistance and expanded spectrum beta-lactamase resistance too. So you know that Escherichia coli is the common microorganism. For example, staphylococcus is the same, and antibiotic-resistant staphylococcus, for example, if we give our dog an antibiotic without recipe, without only for prophylactic, will come with gain resistance to our organisms and will cause the complication after operation in hospitals, will cause a lot of problems in a lot of problems for the newborns and for their mothers. So, you know, the problem of antibiotic resistance is a huge problem in our life. That's why the programs of prevention and combat antibiotic resistance are created more in 170 countries around the world. So they are supervised by World Health Organization, of World Health Organization of Animals, and Food Agricultural Organizations. The classic example is Denmark, because antimicrobial control system from stalls to stable is supported by state level. So in 1999 they abandoned the administration of feed antibiotics in animal husbandry. The commandization of farmers of state people were to ban of use of fluoroquinolones in 2006, and in 2011 they banned also the use of cephalosporins. Now they're thinking about of ban of macrolides, but this rules that does not work in large livestock complexes. For example, China, they got a lot of damage of African pesticide and started to development of poultry. So the increase of poultry production has led to problems with antimicrobial resistance in humans, and they made the financial of Farm Watch project. But then the program of antibiotic resistance were development in different kinds of countries. Russia had its own aims. We had to make the country food security, and refuse from bush legs, made our own poultry, make our own livestock industry. We got the cost-effective livestock, poultry, aquaculture by increasing of production. But on the last time was safe and quality agricultural products. Several years we have to increase in export, but the program of antibiotic resistance, the control of residues, the control of antibiotic resistance macrons was developed with the state programs. And now Russia has some problems in export of the program, and of course of production of safe and quality agricultural products. But we try to find the solution. The main difference between Russian livestock and poultry technology from other countries is the volume of production. For example, the average farm size in USA or in EU countries is 52,000, a huge quantity, 500,000 heads. It is very huge production, for example, in broilers. This concern and pigs, this concern and cows. The big difference is in meat processing enterprises, because a lot of farmers put their chicken, for example, and put to the integrators. But it made a bad help in COVID pandemic conditions, because it helped to spread the virus, and a lot of people change them during their way from farms in meat processing enterprises and so on. That's why some of factories were closed during the pandemic. So Russian farms have more quantity of heads in one place. It will help, but you will help a good technology. If we scale production, we scale the problem, because there are a lot of microorganisms that passage and strengthening of resistance of microorganisms. It is one way for developing countries to make more food, So make more food, it is more quantity of volume of heads, of chickens, of pigs in one place. So it is technological stress, it decreases immunity, and there are a lot of diseases by viral, parasitic, bacterial etiologies. And if you don't have a good team, if you don't have a good professional competitions, you have to use more drugs, more antibiotics, and this one decrease in quality and safety of products. This one causes the antimicrobial resistance. If we look the antibiotic circle in agricultural and moreover in all the world, we will see a very interesting patterns which confirmed from different kinds of scientists from all over the world. If we give antimicrobial to the, for example, chicken, for example, pigs, for example, cattle, they of course eat it. Some of these are destroying in organism, but a lot of them come around with feces, of course. Now we use the feces to the soil like a fertilizer, and there the antibiotics influence for the microorganisms of soil. But moreover, they go to the water, they go to the plants. The plants is the biological topik. The plants, they don't go out. They go into the feed, they go into the food. For example, potato absorb a lot of antibiotics. For example, cherry absorb a lot of antibiotics. And so, what's the next? Antimicrobial resistance. Antimicrobial resistance has a development, and then we have a lot of virus and fungi disease of the plants. And if you get a statistic, for example, in south of Russia, there are a lot of sunflies which have a lot of diseases. Then feed come to the animals, food come to the people. We have nothing to treat, and antibiotics don't work. And this cycle repeat and repeat and repeat in every time. A lot of people have a lot of delusion that it is enough to destroy antibiotics is to freeze or to boil their products, but it influence for the quality of the products. It is the first one, and the researchers in 2018 showed that we will destroy only a little piece of the antibiotics in the products. So what should we do? Antibiotic control system technology, it is our program we developed from last 3 years, is technology that allows you to reduce the number of antibiotics and completely abandon in a scaled production and produce safe and high quality agricultural products. You know that it is don't increase the price of the products, and it is the best solution, because we will give the people, we will produce a lot of high quality clean products without high price. The basic of a program is the professional competitions of veterinarian doctors is to change technology with an emphasis of maintaining immunity and reducing stress. The result can be obtained by 1.5 to 2 years with systematic teamwork in a high level of professional competence of all specialists with the support of the enterprise management. The main and make work is veterinary work. So the base of ACS technology is the hazard analysis and critical control points in the producing farm, from stable to table, from control of the food of chicken or necks or pigs, from control of infectious disease of every point of technological cycle, the control of administration and the result of administration of antibiotics. And it is the systematic work of all specialists of the blood. What results we will have by optimization of technology? What should we do to get the results of optimization? We should do the diagnostic, monitoring of immunity, viral, parasitic, bacterial diseases, and the sensitivity of microorganisms to antimicrobial products for veterinary administration at critical points of the technological cycle. The anti-epizootic prophylaxis, vaccination you mean, the technology, optimization of content, feeding, replacement of preventing causes of antibiotic with pre-processing cytobiotics, organic acids, drugs of different groups, and so on. Veterinary and sanitary disinfection, control of microbiological purity and residual amounts of antimicrobial agents in manufactured products. The general business events we should make too. The monitoring of sensitivity of microorganisms to antimicrobials and prognosis of their sensitivity to administrate the best of antibiotics works before. The refusal to use antimicrobial agents to promote growth and productivity. The production control of resident amounts of antimicrobials everywhere, from fruit to stable, and of course the state veterinary control. Basic requirement: products must not contain residual amounts of antimicrobial preparation within minimum values of known today methods. Do you know company who will do this at all? SCAMP Technology. SCAMP in Russia, система контроля антимикробных препаратов. In English is ICS, Antimicrobial Control System Technology, and antibiotic free. It is effective tool for protecting manufacturers and consumers. If you have no antibiotics, if you have a high-level hygiene, if you have a high-level veterinarian service, the animals will be healthy. If they healthy, they don't need antibiotics. If we don't use antibiotics, they have no residues. If we have no residues and we have no antibiotic resistance microorganism, we will stop the antibiotic resistance in veterinary and agriculture. So it is the best idea on this technology. It is really hard to organize in scale production, but it is possible. And thanks to science, thanks to professionals, it is really. So for the last 3 years, we made more than 20 conferences in different regions of Russia. The pilot regions were Leningrad and Belgorod regions. Now we are working in Krasnodar and try to start to work in Siberia. So we invited a lot of experts from different countries, from different industries. For example, in 2018 we invited the Danish Agricultural and Food Council. Now we are working with FAO, with OAE, with WHO, and study the specials to find the best solutions in scale producing, because we need in food safety, because we need in export of safety products, and of course we need in the solution of antibiotic resistance problem. So they make a lot of work to help different countries. Last week we finished the international cycle of seminars about the registration of veterinary certificates when exporting products from the Russian Federation to the third countries, to the European Union, to the Gulf countries, to the China and some other. We started a project, and we are sure that it is a great development in our common work, the antibiotic-free products. And this product means that the farmers who make a high quality products without administration or with the strong control of antibiotic will make the export of their products to the different countries by the green line. So I think it is a good solution for the poor countries that will help them to get a lot of good high quality products by cheap price. Of course we need in help. Of course there are a lot of people who are interested by this program, but we need help, and I think that we will find some solution with different countries too, of course. So look, who will make this program? It is the scientists, the main veterinarians of, for example, poultry farms that got the first permissions for the antibiotic-free labeling are the candidates of veterinary science. They have a lot of knowledge in their brain. They can make the systematization and analysis of the information. They know the languages. They got the studies in foreign countries, and they made the solutions on their farms. This is the broiler farm, huge, more than 10,000 tons per month they produce. This is the huge it is the largest poultry farm of eggs in Europe. So Artur Mikhailovich Khaldayenko is the general director, and he is the candidate of science too, and he finds the solution. So I think that our program will help to all people on the world to solve the problem of antibiotic resistance in medicine and veterinary medicine. Thank you for your attention. Have a good health. Thank you very much.